On today's episode, I'm going to show you how I make a teleprompter. Unfortunately, you can't see it right now though because, well, I'm using it. So remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Like if you enjoy even 5 minutes of the content, and enjoy the show. My name's Casey, and welcome to YaMaker.
Welcome to YaMaker.
First thing I'm doing here is going to be setting up for the edges that are going to hold the reflective polycarbonate that I'll be using here. So I'm just setting out a couple triangles. Basically this was a 7 by 7 inch square that I started out with, and then here in a little bit you'll see that I actually ended up changing the shape a little bit. And I did that because I needed a brace that goes across the top that will, in the long run, actually be able to hold a microphone or a light or whatever else. I didn't mention it later in the video, so I am now so yeah, just getting ready to drill out a couple holes so I can start using the YaMaker, yay. So drilling out the holes so I can use the jigsaw to cut out the triangles here. And the wood I'm using is 1/2 inch Baltic birch plywood for that. The base is 3/4 inch particle board. I wanted to use 1/2 inch Baltic birch plywood as well for it, but I didn't have any pieces large enough because I needed a 12 by 16, and I think the largest one that I had was here, which was like 8.5, 9 inches. So I wasn't able to do that. And then putting the tape on there because at this point I didn't want to tear out. So my blade is an upcut blade on my jigsaw there. So just using the blue tape because the lines that I initially drew, I could kind of see them through, but when I was going to be cutting, I knew I wouldn't be able to see them. So I just took those and then transferred onto the blue tape so I could see what I was doing. And I kind of wish I would have realized that the sides weren't the right shape because I kind of mocked it up a little bit in SketchUp, but I don't know how to, and if anybody can help me, please post in the comments, but I don't know how to create a to-scale drawing from SketchUp. Fusion, I don't know if I can still do that with the changes that they just made for the free to use, but I probably will be subscribing to that one here once I have income coming in, because it's about $300-400 a year, which isn't too bad, but I don't use it very often, and I might start using it more. A lot of times when I'm sketching stuff out for people, I just do it on a notepad. So it's definitely nice. I like it because when I'm doing templates and whatnot, I can use the Fusion and then export that to a PDF at a 1:1 scale, and then I can print the PDF to a 1:1 scale and use that as a template. And this is where I'm realizing that, oh, I messed up. I needed that to be larger so I could put the support on the top. So I just cut off that edge, and then you can kind of see the shape I'm going for. It's like a diamond shape. I'm just tracing it, using it as a template. And then I realized that the inside triangle needs to be a little bit larger, so that's what I'm doing, just roughing that out. And then I'm going to cut that out here in a second. So I'm able to finish templating that out, and then can cut out the other side. There, I noticed that the edge is a little bit longer than the other one, so, and then roughly cutting out the top brace. And over here at the bandsaw, so I'm actually cutting the brace out to the size that I want. And then I'm going to trim that off. There we go. There we go, now they line up. Alright, so there I have the two sides and the top brace. And then I should be, what am I going to do? So here's the bottom piece. I actually drew the dimensions on there to start off with. So there's a top rectangle. I want to say it's 12 inches by 7 inches. And then off the center, so on from 5 inches to 7 inches, there's a 2-inch bar that comes out to the right hand side about 9 inches. So it's like 2 by 9. The arm is going to be for where the camera actually is going to end up mounting to. So, and this I'm just rough cutting it out. I did leave a small radius in between where the arms connect, and I may end up actually changing this to plywood later time. It depends on how well the particle board holds up. Why I did the relief cuts, I'm not sure. I thought I was being smart. But it's a 1/4-inch blade and well within the tolerance for cutting a radius. So as you'll see on the next radius, I end up not doing a relief cut. So alright, so now we have our base, the two arms, or the two sides, and that back piece is going to end up being for kind of the back plate. The reason why I cut out the triangles is trying to reduce weight. A lot of the tripods and whatnot, they only hold like 5 to 8 pounds. So I just trying to keep the weight down, because I mean, once you get the tablet on there with the whole teleprompt with the camera, and then if you add a light and a microphone, yeah, my camera is not very heavy. I'm just using one of the Canon Vixia HF R800, so it's just a 1080p, nothing too special camera. So So now I'm getting ready to do some basic pre-assembly. That way I can make sure that my measurement for that back plate is going to be correct Y, because it actually sits in between the triangles. So, and I should have used a washer on those screws. I end up using nuts because I don't have washers the correct size right now. But actually when I tighten those in, it actually kind of disintegrated some of the particle board there. So you'll see on these next one, when I go to actually screw it down, I got the screws and I grabbed a couple nuts that I took off of my arm that's actually holding the camera above, because I put in some nylon lock nuts, because these other ones, even though I had two nuts jammed, it still would keep loosening up. So I'm hoping that the nylon nuts will hold a lot better. Just mount the top brace there. And through the power of magic, I cut that out really quick. I thought I had a clip where I actually cut that on the table saw. Now I just screw it in onto the back there. And then here I want to make sure the hole's larger than the lens cap. That way if I get a larger lens or a different camera, or I need to adjust something, I can. So it has about a 1/2 inch extra on the diameter radius. As you can see my camera, I'm able to move that arm. It stretches about 4.5 feet. And up, down, and it'll rotate as well, so. Up close. Here we go. So there's my camera. I've been using a piece of paper with a hairband on the top to block out the reflections that you may have seen in some of my prior videos. But it was doing like almost a double upside down rainbow on the bottom. And in some areas it was way worse than others, but some it was just fine. So what I did with those two pieces of scrap was actually kind of space it to get the lens semi into the center of the circle. One thing I did not account for though is the fact that the mounting point on the camera is off center. So, and this is just a piece of cherry, I think it was. Yeah, it was cherry. Using that to use that as the centerpiece, and I forgot to move the camera as I attach that, but you'll see it here in a little bit. These pieces that are being cut right now, I'm going to use for a spacer, or kind of a it was actually to hold up the polycarbonate. Alright, so yeah, I was setting up to cut out the Lexane or acrylic. And it's just 1/8 inch acrylic, and then trimming it down a little bit because I just did a quick test fit. So there we are. You can actually see the acrylics in there. It's just sitting there, and then took those little pieces that of scrap that I cut, and just on either side. And unfortunately, you'll see it here in a second. But the first one, I'm just using some super glue, tacking it into place. And then I use the quick set to trigger that off. There you can see I'm doing the other one a little bit. Pull the piece out. And then just add some more super glue. So that's all that's holding those into place, the super glue. I was trying to show it off. Like, I could barely see it, trying to see if the camera could see it, but the camera just couldn't see it. It was actually picking up the reflection from the outside of the garage door, off of the tablet, off of the mirror, or off of the polycarbonate, into the camera. So this material here, I'm going to use to cover the outside of basically putting the other 3 sides of the box on. And that is, gosh, I don't remember what kind of material that was. I bought it for making beanbags for cornhole. I use that as the inside of the bag, so it's nice and strong and it's not gonna break down or anything. So, and time to paint. Oh, look at that magic. Wow. And a lot of this I just kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do. I'm designing on the fly as I'm doing this, so I didn't plan on, you know, how I was going to wrap it up. I actually initially thought I was going to do some 1/8 inch plywood, but then I remembered I had that. I was like, yeah, that'll be even lighter, but how do I attach it? Let's put some 1/2 inch plywood on there. So it's still lighter than it would have been if I would have done 1/8 inch plywood all the way around it, though. So I'm using the boards to hold it in place, because if I thought about just gluing it on there, but I want to be able to take this apart if I need to for some reason. So that's why everything's just held together with screws. Pull it kind of snug, not too snug. See, if I pull it too tight, it gets wrinkles. And then just need a piece for the top there as well, so that way it doesn't pull back. And that top plate, I'm going to actually get some, like, you know, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1/4 inch by 20 bolts, and be able to put them through that. And then that's where I'll be able to attach other items such as a microphone or a light or something on top of there if I need to. First thing I'll actually probably end up adding to it is the microphone, because at the end of the video the audio is actually coming from the GoPro and not from that camera, because now that it's behind the box, it was not picking me up hardly at all. And at the end of the video, I talk about possibly covering this hole up more. I have tried that to see if it helps, and I just using that scrap that I'm cutting off now and some tape just to hold it in place, and I don't notice a difference. So there you go, and that polycarbonate just slides in and out, so I can take it out and clean it very easy. There's the cameras attached, and now what I'm doing is I'm getting that balance point, because I want to balance. That's where I want to put in the mounting point on the bottom, so that it balances pretty evenly. So I just took a pencil there and kind of drew around actually it was a spray can that I was setting it on, so I just found where the center of that was, and there we go. And then the piece that I'm using here is just one of those, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's got the threads on the coarse threads on the outside, and on the inside it's got the 1/4 inch by 20 threads. Now, when I was putting that piece in there, I was kind of worried about the particle board just tearing out, just because it does take a little bit of force to get that in there. But after I got it in, turn 2, it actually went in just fine. So there we go. All right. Sweet. I don't know how well the microphone's picking me up right now, but we can see through the one camera what I've been recording with, which is my GoPro, so the video may or may not be as good as normal, but we can see the text in there. One thing I'm not liking, let me see if I can get up closer here. Let's see if this will pick it up. Sorry, I'm trying to see my phone so I can see what the GoPro is seeing as well. But there's really bad ghosting on there. I don't know if it has to do with the flexing, like if it's flexing the plate a little bit. But really, like, I have to be looking at a completely different spot to be able to see it. But now, if we look at the other camera, we don't see anything. We just see the camera, which is awesome. And the extra benefit, other than my awesome hair that you get to see for the first time, and the fact that I needed to cut the sides, is it gets rid of the glare from my lighting in the garage. That was actually really annoying me, and I was getting frustrated, and I've been wanting to do this, and I put it off because I had another project I had to make for somebody. So this time I was able to do what I want. Things that I might add in later, the back here, I may make some way to close that around it so it's even more black, but it seems to be okay right now. It would need more light on the back side, I think, to cause a glare, but it shouldn't, because it's going to be reflecting and going up and hitting that matte black and dyeing. So I think we're good. So don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button there, you know, so you get notified when new videos come out. And if you liked this build, please give it a thumbs up. I'd very much appreciate it. Not only for the YouTube algorithm that everybody says it does, but lets me know if you like this kind of content. So, all right, have a good one.